Today to Mayenzeke Baza, who's a documentary filmmaker who's made a film called I Am a Man. Mayenzeke, what's I Am a Man about?
I Am a Man is a film. Basically, it follows a young man who's lost his penis through male circumcision, which is an initiation ritual that Xhosa people do in South Africa. And it kind of follows how he lost his penis and looks at the issues around culture and why we still hold on to this tradition, even though some young men lose their penises and some young men are dying.
And it's taken you 3 years to get the film made. What did you go through in order to raise the funding for it?
Sure, it's been a long journey. The film started, I think, I've got an executive producer who's based in England, Brian Woods, and he had kind of put his initial funding, £1,000 for me to kind of write and shoot the first couple of interviews. But prior to that, I had kind of shot stuff because it was like out of my own money. And then so I started pitching the project throughout the world. So I went from festival to festival. I think my first festival was at Sheffield, where I pitched the project.
At the documentary film festival?
Yeah, it's a documentary film festival in Sheffield. So I was part of the mid-market, so I pitched the film there. And then I went all the way, I've been to IDFA, which is the International Documentary Film Festival of Amsterdam. And I've been to Hot Docs as well, and then back to DIF, it's called the Documentary International, it's called Durban International Film Festival in South Africa. So I've really been all over trying to raise money. I've went through crowdfunding, which is through an Indiegogo campaign.
Okay. And how much did you raise out of that?
Well, I probably raised about $800.
Okay, so not so successful.
No, it wasn't successful. My plan was about 30,000 US, but I wrote way less than that.
So where did the money eventually come from?
I got some money from National Film and Video Foundation, development money. And I got some money, I must say, before I forget, I got some money from IDFA Fund.
Yes. It's
called the Young Framing Fund then. They gave me like initial
seed funding.
It's called development funding. So which I used to kind of shoot a pilot. And then through that, then I started traveling. And then I got some money from the National Film and Video Foundation. And I must say, it's starting to pull off now. And then early this year, June, I've been to Sunnyside of the Dock in France with the project. Early this year, Al Jazeera came on board and said, we want to get a half hour of this, and they put in a lot of money. And then my local broadcaster SABC is doing co-production. I've got Top TV who's really wanting to buy as well. So it's been
you really lined up all your ducks.
So I'm really lined up. And from that, before I forget, I know it's called CBA, Commonwealth Broadcasting Association. They've given me some fund for me to travel, to Sheffield. So actually they contributed to the film. So really I've been all over. So as I said, now Al Jazeera is like the biggest funder. And which is the one I kind of signed the contract with.
And let's go back to the film itself. This particular tribe, what are they called, and what are the customs that lead to this circumcision ritual?
In South Africa, there's about two biggest tribal groups. One's called the Zulus, and the other's called the Xhosas. And the Xhosas are very dominant. If I can mention some people from the Xhosa, like Nelson Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, and we know those Desmond Tutu. But Xhosas are known in South Africa for holding on to true cultural rituals, mainly circumcision, because the Xhosa people, it's a sense of identity. I am Xhosa. For us, let me put it, for us Xhosa people, being circumcised gives you an identity of becoming a man.
And you get circumcised at what age? You
get circumcised when you're 18. And then when you reach the age of 18, you have to go through the journey. You spend about 3 to 4 weeks in the bush, where you get circumcised, and you kind of live there till your wound heals. So it's that process, but there's lots of celebration in it, and there's lots of excitement, because as a boy, it's like rite of passage for you. You're going to become a man. It's exciting, you're happy. But again, there's always these underlying issues of where young men are starting to die, and young men are starting to lose their penises. And that's where my film comes in. And as a Xhosa man, I do feel like I can't just sit back and not do anything about it, and not document it, and not really tell the true story. But mainly also, I'm kind of in solidarity with the young man, who's actually lost his penis through this.
You were saying that the part of the ritual is not to drink for 8 days after.
There's certain myths around. Again, the the custodians of the culture can tell you that some of the things aren't supposed to be true today.
Yes.
I remember when my time I went there,
yes.
for the first 8 days, water is not allowed.
Yes.
I'm not allowed to drink water because it helps with the healing. It's supposed to speed up the process of healing.
Keep the wound dry.
But again, because today things have changed, there's too much heat, and boys aren't succumbed to this kind of heavy pressures, of not having to drink water because they drink lots of sweet stuff, so they get dry, they get really dry. So I think that's when things go wrong. And also, I do believe also if you don't have water in your system, bacteria builds up, and that's causing infection.
And that causes infection. So this young man, who is the focus of the film, lost his penis.
Yes.
And what's his attitude to that? What's the, how does he feel about the fact that this has happened?
I mean, he's been living like that for the past 8 years.
Right. So he's now 28.
He's now 29. Sorry, I think 29 for the past 9-10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure for myself, but he's like about 29 now.
Yeah.
He tells me that I think the first few years, he's thought of committing suicide many times.
Yes.
And he's thought of killing himself.
Yeah.
But again, he's realized that he has to live with this.
Yes.
And he can really do anything about it. But also, in the same manner, he's got issues of identity. Whether he asks himself whether he's a man or not.
Yeah.
And one of the sad things, as a man, when he speaks to me, he says, when I went to the bush, I used to. I knew what sex was.
Yes.
Now, and it's hard because he does get cravings, for sex, and he can't.
Yes.
But also, he says for him, he didn't learn anything because I think part of this culture we're supposed to learn something when we go there.
Yes.
So he said he didn't learn anything. Instead, he lost his penis.
Yes.
So he doesn't really believe that this really ritual is relevant.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think if he had children, he would not take his son there. But I guess he's really. I think he's a broken young man.
Yes. Is there a medical solution to this, or is he destined not to have a penis for the rest of his life?
I've had a couple of interviews with a couple of doctors and surgeons. Yes. There are options for him to get a new surgical penis.
Yes.
They tried that a long time ago.
Yes.
I think a year after he they saw there was a surgical process that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Where they kind of put something to him. Yeah. But he was hoping that whatever they put is going to at least get firm.
Yes.
Which is really not true.
Not possible.
Because one of the doctors explained the only tissue that's really erect is that one. You'll never find any other tissue like that in the body, except for this part of your hand.
Yeah.
So I think what they've done, they kind of cut most of his meat from the hand to try and make that, but now they can't cut any place anymore.
Yeah.
So in a way, for him to enjoy the pleasures of a man before, it's impossible.
Yeah.
But to have something that's kind of hanging, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
Or to have something with a machine that can keep it hard, that's possible. But I think he's kind of life as a man with a normal penis is gone.
Yeah. So when is the film being released?
At the moment, I'm in post-production.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to finish the film in the next month or so. Because one of my broadcasters wants it delivered by end of December. Okay. So in December, I'll have the film
and it'll be shown first on?
It will be shown first on Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
Al Jazeera English.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, Al Jazeera London.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take it to SABC, my local broadcaster, and then I'll take it to other broadcasters.
Okay.
And I had planned to do a festival screening. I don't think, because of money issues, you kind of settle for what you have at the moment. I think so. And also, I don't think festival really is a big deal. I think my main thing is to get it to television, especially to my local broadcaster.
Mayenzeke, thank you for talking to me today.
Appreciate that.